Hey everyone, welcome back to Farming Simulator 22, and I am bringing you in on the middle of some work. So let me catch you up to speed. Now typically with Butschern, I don't like working ahead, I like taking you all along on this map, kind of step by step, but this field is pretty decent size, and it's a contract, and I didn't want just another... Oh, what's he doing? He stopped. Okay, to figure that out. Let me catch up on what's going on. So we're working on getting the sunflower contract completed. And actually, let me do this real quick because it looks like our harvester is about wrapped up. Let me stop him and I'll explain that whole business here in a second, what we're doing. So it dawned on me that I've got a mod installed that, well, we've got two mods that are coming into play here. We've got additional straw, um, additional crop straw, I think it's called. So it's actually giving us straw um, from the sunflowers that we're combining right now. And I also have a mod installed which is collect straw at missions. So I think you're getting the idea here. So all this straw that's being left behind, we can collect. And initially I was thinking, well, let me grab my baler and we'll get to baling. And I thought, no, that's kind of silly because we don't need, 25, 30 bales of straw. Because really I'm just looking to cash in real quick on it. Just make some quick money on it. And in fact, our sales point for the straw that we're going to use is right over in the southeast corner, right over there. In fact, you can see I think that's a chimney right over there. So I went and I grabbed this guy. So we grabbed our Schutemacher forage wagon. Is that what they call it? A pickup wagon? Pickup trailer? Pickup wagon? And then I thought, well, let's try to automate this a little bit. And so I created a courseplay for us right here, but it's off a little bit. You can see how they're not quite lined up, and that's because I'm not using courseplay for our harvester work, which I should have probably done. Now that in hindsight, they would line up perfectly, but I went ahead and created a courseplay course anyways, based on what the combine is doing, right? And I'm using that courseplay. I saved it, and I'm using that for this guy. Right now we need to run over here and see what in the world our buddy here is going to do. I didn't create a headland for him, which I probably should have done, but it looks like he's figuring it out okay. Alright, anyways, so that's where I'm at right now. That catches you up. So we're finishing off the sunflower contract. Hired helper right over yonder. And I could stop him and change him over to a course play, but that's just even more work, and it just doesn't seem worth it at this point. I'll drive around and pick up this straw if need be, but it seems to be working okay. I think this thing has a wide enough pickup that it looks like it's actually doing okay, but I don't know why he just stopped on me, and I'm wondering if that's because it's got a little bit of a different... It's a different... Ooh. I'm wondering if it's because it's a different implement that I'm dragging behind it, and Courseplay's expecting, a combine with a header? Or is it because of this fence, and Courseplay was just like, I don't know what to do about that fence? So what we're going to do is I'm going to set up Courseplay right here, and we're going to try the nearest waypoint and kick him off again. And you can see he's off. He's not lined up well, but lined up well enough. Lined up well enough. So if it's because of that fence, then I guess I've got a couple choices. I can either create a course with headlands, because this course that I created here has no headlands. I thought since, you know, those weren't going to line up anyway, so why create them? But maybe I should have created a course with headlands, and that way this thing would allow itself a little bit more room to turn around. Let's see what he does down here. If he just stops and stops, let's see. No, he's going to keep going, so I bet it is that fence down there that's causing him some issues. There is another option. What's he doing? What you doing, buddy? Please don't reverse all the way down. Please don't. What you doing? What you doing, sport? Okay. There's another option too. I don't know if we can change that mid-flow, or if that's something I'd have to create a new course for. Oh, I think you have to do that during the creation of the course, don't you? There's an option for right here, only turning on the field. That's activated. That's the one I was thinking of, was this guy right here. Because I think that means only turning on the field, not possible with all tools. Okay, well, maybe that's the issue here. Well, all right. Oh, he's missing a little bit, but... And then it might be one of these deals where it gets worse, progressively worse. Like if I look at the lines, it looks like it actually is going to get progressively more off. So this may not work anyways. Yeah, it looks like it's, as we go over to our right, if you can see there, it's going to get further and shifted over. It's just going to shift and shift and shift and shift over. So may not be worth it. It might have been, it was worth a try. If any of you have any ideas, well, I guess there is a tool offset right here. I think I've played around with that before, and I didn't have a lot of luck. I mean, it works, but yeah, he doesn't like that fence at all. Does not like that fence at all. Let's check on our harvester, see what's going on here. Oh, you're doing well. Good for you, buddy. I can clean up some of that. That's fine if we need to. But he's doing well. Good. This guy's tucked away. We haven't even got a full trailer yet out of this field. It's a low yield field, I think. Let's take a look at it here. Yeah, 64%. So it's a pretty low yield. Not a big deal. I'm more interested in just the contract reward and any leftover sunflowers we can sell. Leftover sunflowers. We don't have pigs or anything that needs it. I don't know. Do chickens eat sunflowers? I don't think they do. Do they? I forget if sunflowers is something the chickens will eat. Not that we need it for chickens, but chickens like wheat, barley, and sorghum. Yeah, okay. So we'll just end up selling any leftover sunflowers we have. So that's what's happening here on Butschern on Sunday morning. I did remember to turn the clock on, but I turned it on half speed. I had a reason for that, and now I can't remember what it was, so I'm going to bump it back to 1x. A couple other things I'll catch you up on real quick, and then I'm going to continue this a little bit, and I'll bring you back. It's a little bit different, I know, than we normally do on Butschern, but I want to keep you, I don't want you to be sitting here just watching the same thing as we did last episode. I am working on this week's Throwback Thursday. I think I've got a couple good ideas for that, so I'm really looking forward to that one. So keep that in mind that we are going to have episode 2 of Throwback Thursday, and that will be on, I'm going to give you 3 guesses. It'll be on Thursday. Number 2, I am messing around with my recording volume and some other things. So if you find that I'm too loud, if my voice is too loud, if I'm being drowned out by the equipment. If something seems off to you, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm doing my best to get that sorted. I feel like it hasn't been that great, so I'm trying to make it much better. I am going to try out an external encoder or a video capture device. I picked up the EVGA XR1 Pro. I haven't got it yet, but when I do get it, I'm going to try that out and see how that works for our recordings. I think that's going to give me a little bit more flexibility on some things, so we'll see how that goes. Eventually, I'd like to be able to get an actual little soundboard and be able to have a little bit more flexibility with audio gain and stuff. But for now, Shadowplay lets me adjust quite a bit, actually. But I'm just curious what you all think. If you don't mind leaving that in the comments, how you feel the volume is. I'm mostly concerned, with I don't want to be distorted, and when I'm close to machinery like this, is it comfortable for you to still be able to hear me and not be drowned out by the machine? And is my voice too loud? Because I can tell you right now, I wouldn't want to hear I wouldn't want to be drowned out by my voice either. I have to listen to it all the time. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to let our hired helper continue on their merry way, and I'm going to keep collecting straw, and I will bring you all back when we get towards the end of this field, and we'll go from there. All right, I will see you all in a bit. Well, welcome back, everybody. So as you can see, actually getting a little more straw out of this than I expected. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think we'd be collecting all that much. Now I'm be a little bit curious to see what we make out of a trailer load of straw. In fact, we are there right now, so let's just head on over. Do I need to pick up our header? I picked it up. Good. Let's head on over and let's sell our straw. Let's see what kind of cash we get from this, because, well, I shouldn't say if it's not much, we shouldn't do it, because we kind of need all the money we can get. As you can see, our helper there is doing pretty well. Only a couple, 2-3 more rows, and they'll be wrapping up the sunflowers. I think we sell right over here. Let's find out here if I'm off on that. I think right here is a sell point. Yep, I didn't think we were going to get that, but let's see what we get out of this straw sale. I don't think it's going to be a lot, but you know what? It's free, technically, I guess you would say. Well, with very little cost to it. A little more than I thought. Definitely almost $3,000 for a trailer. That's not bad, and it didn't take a whole lot to fill that trailer up. So guess what I'm gonna be doing? I'm gonna be collecting straw. I've been trying to think of a better way to get this done, a little more automated, but I just haven't really come up with anything. I know I could probably tinker around a little bit more with maybe creating a different course, but I think for the time it's going to take for me to get a good course play course set up and figured out and lined up, it's probably just as well that I just knock the stuff out myself. It's a little bit of a zen thing, it's a beautiful morning in November, and I'm just kind of chilling here, taking care of business. So I think I'll just continue grabbing our straw. You can see that it really, we'll probably end up with, I'm just going to estimate here, but maybe roughly, we could end up with over 10 grand or so in straw. Would not be totally surprising to me. Harvester's doing well. Looks like they might get it. Probably not. Probably 2 more strips besides this. I'm going to let you go again, and I'll bring you back when our harvesting is done, and we'll see where we're at from there. I'll see you in a little bit. All right, well, welcome back, everybody, once again. So our harvester has just completed. So we are 100% done on the actual harvesting on the sunflowers here. I'm going to go ahead and unload this thing. I don't know if we'll get the whole thing unloaded in our trailer or not. Let's take a quick peek at where we're at with our contract. Percentage-wise, we're at 80%. So we'll get this thing unloaded completely if we can. I'm doing pretty well over there on the straw, as you can see. Getting that knocked out. I'm kind of encouraged a little bit by that, just because of the money we're making on it. So there's our combine is done. We're not going to worry about those little things. We're going to park him here out of the way. Get him turned off. And let's go over and let's sell our sunflowers and get this contract knocked out. Now, the one thing we don't want to do is pull the trigger. Wait a minute. Wait a darn minute. You all probably noticed that sooner than I did. But we missed some. So we are going to grab that. So what I was saying was we don't want to pull the trigger on collecting on this contract until we're done picking up the straw. If we do that, straw disappears, and we'll definitely be done collecting straw. So we don't want to do that. But what we can do is we can definitely at least sell our sunflowers and get this harvest done. I'm just going to grab this since we're here. I'm going to grab this now. Go ahead and do your dumping there, Mr. Combine. And let's head on over. I think our hired helper didn't like that last row because maybe the tree down there or something like that. It's always hard to say why, but definitely did not like it. We're gonna make them like it now. Actually, we'll just fire this up ourselves. Is this a one-row job? This is a one-row job. Yeah, we'll take care of this ourselves. So I hope you're all having a good weekend. Sorry, I know I started the episode kind of already at a sprint, but I definitely wanted to bring you in on everything that was going on here. Sunday morning, one of my favorite mornings of the weekend, to be honest with you. There's a couple YouTubers that I watch every Sunday morning pretty religiously, as long as they post. Now, one of them is about 100% on that one, and that's that. It's Techmoan, if I'm remembering correctly. He's out of the UK, and he talks about reviews. Well, not really reviews, but it's mostly, yeah, I guess you could say reviews. Old, kind of outdated equipment, audio, video stuff. Excuse me. It's very, very cool. He does a great job with it. He's also a lot of fun to watch, and he'll tear into stuff. He doesn't really, you know, he's not a professional technician or anything like that, which makes it even more fun. But he he does a really good job with everything that he does tear into. You know, I mean, granted, for not being like fully trained, he certainly does a better job than I probably would do. Oh, look how much is left over. 262 liters. You gotta love that. So I watched Tecmone. Some of them are just fantastic. They're like super like 1980s. He does a lot of 1980s, 1970s stuff. So he gets new old stock, or he buys used stuff and talks about it. It's very cool. And the other channel that I really enjoy too, but he's been every other weekend for a while, so this might be an off weekend for him, is Stavros. Stavros 969, I think. All right, let's unload this. We should complete our contract and make some money on top of this, I think. Let's see what we get here. I think our counter should start going up, maybe. Let's see what happens. We're at 55,407. Very nice. All right. So an extra 55,407, so an extra $4,000 from leftover sunflowers. Take that. And let's scooch on out of here. Amazed I didn't hit anything on my way out. Don't want to get cocky about that because there's always going to be the straw deliveries. Have a little bits here and there left over, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. But we do have 262 liters left in this thing, and that is going to kind of bug me. So we are going to grab, oh boy, the rest of that. Did I turn the harvester off? I did. All right, so we turn the harvester back on. Now we can get it out of the way. Folding is not allowed. Sure it is. I was just too quick on the draw. That head doesn't fold, does it? Nope, it sure doesn't. Alright. Alright, let's get this harvester out of the way so it's not blocking us when we do our continue our straw. So yeah, Stavros 969. He is from Ireland and does mostly he's a lorry driver or a truck driver in Ireland, and most of his videos are centered around either cars or trucks. So he'll go to different events, either whether it's a rally or some kind of a fundraiser. He'll also do test rides or test drives in different semis. Of course, European semis, you know, the cab-overs. But if you enjoy that type of thing, and if you play Euro Truck or have played Euro Truck Simulator, I think you would actually really quite enjoy Stavros's channel. So Tecmone and Stavros 969, I believe, is what it is. And both of those channels are my Sunday morning cartoons, so to speak. Isn't that interesting? If I would have guessed, even if I would have thought 10 years ago, probably, you know, that I would be waking up Saturday and Sunday morning, and the first thing I'd be doing was turning on YouTube to watch people's channels on YouTube, you know, before turning on normal Saturday and Sunday morning broadcast shows. I would have really thought that would be kind of crazy, but that's exactly what it is. And in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine at work the other day, and we were talking about that very thing, how YouTube is the first thing I turn on when I come home from work. If I turn something on to watch, I go to YouTube first, and I check my subscriptions, and I check suggested, and yeah, that's the first thing I do. It it's really changed quite a bit. It's changed a lot, really, and of course my kids are old enough now to where um, there's no more Power Rangers um, every on the weekends. Of course, they don't know this, but I still watch Power Rangers once in a while. Um, Transformers, one of my favorite animated shows of all time, um, was Transformers. Um, oh boy, it's the oh boy, I'm thinking about this. They, boy, I wish I could remember. It was only like 3 seasons long, if that helps. The animation was absolutely fantastic. The stories were fantastic. The voice acting was fantastic. Writing was great. Transformers. And I wish I could remember the missing part of that, but I know that Predacons were in it. And in fact, I think it went 3 seasons, and then they had like I want to say like a movie, but it wasn't like a movie. But it was like a after third season special that actually took place on Cybertron. Um, Basically, the gist of it was they were here on Earth, of course, and it was kind of a battle for Earth a bit, the typical Transformers thing, and um, Megatron, of course, the evil guy. But then you also had the Predacons, which are awesome, and it seemed like not only Predacons, but there was another beast thing maybe going on or something. Anyways, really, really good. Um, 3 kids matched up with different Transformers. Um, yeah, just a really good production. And it only lasted 3 years. I was super disappointed. The ratings on it on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb are quite good. So it was definitely a highly rated show. I don't know if production costs were just too much, or if that's just all it was scheduled to run, because it did end naturally, which is good, because it's frustrating when you're watching a show that gets canceled and doesn't have a chance to properly end. Oh my goodness. Especially if you're invested in it, if you're like super invested in a show that is really, really good, or you think is really good, and you find out Netflix or Hulu canceled it, and it's just the most frustrating thing in the world. It's like, are you kidding me? So it ends with the person going over the cliff, and I'm not going to know if they're alive or dead, and we'll never know if Sherry marries Bob. Yeah, these things have happened. These things have happened. But, yeah, anyways, is what it is. Such life problems, right? Horrible life problems. These are the things I think about, though, when I'm doing this kind of farming, where I'm just kind of, doing the up and down field thing. My mind kind of wanders a bit, but anyways, what do you all watch on YouTube? What are your go-to um, shows or people on YouTube? Sounds like we just finished this load. Um, I'm always curious to see what other people watch. Like, and it's kind of fun too because you can really get a wide, right, a wide variety of stuff. Things that I never thought I would really want to watch that I do enjoy, like the lockpicking lawyer. I watch his channel once in a while because it's kind of fun to see him completely destroy these expensive locks in like 5 seconds and say how bad they are and stuff. It's kind of funny. Um, the restoration channels are really cool. Like I like watching. There's a couple really good ones where they take stuff that is just absolute trash and they restore it to like perfect condition. I enjoy those. Um, you've probably all seen the ones where they're like in a jungle and they hire. I don't know the whole background behind this. I've heard some things about it that make it a little less exciting. I don't know. Still very cool to watch, but you know those ones where they're in a jungle, in this little jungle clearing, and they have like a bamboo shovel and like a piece of like a stick, and they carve out some massive underground dwelling, and they go as far as to like having an in-ground pool and stuff in these things. I love watching those. Those are really satisfying to watch too. Um, auto repair channels. You know, I'm not a mechanic. I wish I was more mechanically inclined like that. Um, I could probably save a lot of money on car repairs, but I do enjoy watching a couple of the auto repair channels. South Main Auto is really good. I watch it more because of Eric O and his wife, Mrs. O. Just a fun couple, a really good couple. I forgot to lower this. That's why I'm going so fast. So yeah, South Main Auto is really good. There's so many out there, right? Of course, there's the farming simulator channels I watch, and Gamers Nexus. I'm pretty regular on the Gamers Nexus channel. It depends on what they're doing on there, but I really enjoy Gamers Nexus. They kind of keep me up to date on the more technical techie stuff. So that kind of comes in handy also for my career, my job. But yeah, I really like Gamers Nexus. They're kind of and they're not bought out, which I really, really like. And you know, you can tell, right? You can tell there's a when there's a review that, well, let's just say the YouTuber likes that free stuff, so they're going to continue to say good things about stuff. And you can tell. And they're not, and I don't want to be a jerk about it and judge anybody. They're not, I'm not saying they're not useless videos. I mean, they're still informative. I just prefer the non-sponsored, tell it like it is kind of reviews, because you hear the bad stuff too. And ooh, man, I felt like we were gonna tip her there. Ooh, my bad. Sorry about that, everyone. Guess we're gonna skip that. Guess we're gonna skip that row. But you can kind of tell when somebody's, you know, just everything good about it. Love this thing. It's fantastic. I kind of wish maybe the wheel had a rubber grip, but that's really the only bad thing I can find about it. You know, that kind of stuff. Oh, speaking of wheels, so I mentioned this on Kubota yesterday morning, and I did a little bit more looking. In fact, I watched a couple reviews. I think I'm jackknifing this thing and turning too sharp. That's why, yeah. Anyways, I was looking some more at that Logitech Pro racing wheel for $1,000, and sure enough, you know, I watched a couple reviews that you could tell were we're sponsored, you know. I mean, they were upfront about it. You know, Logitech sent me this wheel to review. Um, you could also tell that they were being probably a little more positive about it than not because of that reason. There's another tech channel. I'm a little iffy on the dude. I honestly, I apologize. I can't remember what it's called. Um, he's been around YouTube for quite some time, and he's kind of growing on me a little bit. But I will give him a big chunk of credit on the honesty factor, or at least his honest opinion factor. I mean, let's face it, that's what a lot of this is, right? It's people's opinions. In some cases, I mean, some channels do a better job than others as far as, you know, collecting hard data, but he doesn't really pull any punches, and he's been talking about, you know, this EVGA dropping NVIDIA stuff that's been going on, and he's said some pretty harsh things about NVIDIA, especially their 4000 series cards. And it's kind of funny because at the beginning of the video, he was like, you know, I hope NVIDIA doesn't stop sending me samples, but I gotta be honest with you about this. This is ridiculous, you know. And he went on to explain what his opinion was on what EVGA is doing with this latest round of what will be the latest round of cards. And I respect that, you know. I respect that, especially when, you know, that's his livelihood. I'm guessing it's his livelihood. I don't think he has any other. He's got a large enough subscription base to where I don't think he does anything else other than YouTube. And NVIDIA's huge. And if they did stop sending him samples, and if they did stop, you know, working with him, I would suspect it would cause him financial. I don't think it would bankrupt him and have his channel removed, but, you know, it's not as nice as having $1,000-$2,000 video cards sent to you for free, you know. But it's always a fine line, I guess, for some YouTubers, I think, you know, and you know, and I don't even know, you know, if I was in that situation where my channel relied on companies sending me samples and things to review, you know, it'd be tough. It's easy to stand on the outside and, you know, and criticize, but when it's you and it's, you know, it's your channel and you're relying on that, you know, it's probably difficult to talk smack or talk bad about a company. But at the same time, you find out a lot about a company too, right? I would say it's fair to say you find out a lot about the the efficacy of a company, you know, and are they okay with being told that their product stinks, or that parts of their products stink, or, you know, maybe that's something else to consider. And I would think a good company is willing to take it on the chin, especially when you're hearing from people that you're sending samples to. Hopefully they're technically sound, or sound in whatever field they're giving reviews on. And you take that criticism and you go from there. You know, you improve. I am sad to see EVGA drop NVIDIA, though. I honestly have never owned an EVGA. That may not be true. I actually think I have owned one EVGA graphics card many years ago. But I do own probably what's been my favorite power supply I've ever owned. And that's the EVGA SuperNOVA, right? SuperNOVA? 1000, I think it's called. It's 1000 watt. I think it's a gold. I think it's a gold standard 1000 watt. And at the time, I actually really second guessed the purchase because, from a technical standpoint, 1000 watts was serious overkill for what my machine was drawing. Now I'm glad I did, because it does give me some headroom, especially with the new 3080 on there. That thing sucks power like there's no tomorrow. And if what I've heard is correct, the 4000 series is even going to draw more juice. In fact, quite a bit more juice, quite possibly. Not that I'm going to be running out and getting a 4000 anytime soon. In fact, I probably will never buy a 4000, just because I tend to skip generations on graphics cards unless something special comes along, like a special deal, or I win one in some promotion or something, which never happened. But I don't think I'd ever buy a 4000. I'd have to wait until the next series comes out. 3080. My GTX 1070. Let's see. The one before, so I got my 3080. Before the 3080 was a GTX 1070. And that's been a pretty good step up from the 1070 to the 3080. You know, you're adding ray tracing, second gen ray tracing, and a lot of other goodies. So that was a pretty good increase. But I'll tell you, that GTX 1070 served me exceptionally well. I cannot complain about that card at all. In fact, it's still a very useful graphics card. It's a Gigabyte. It's a Gigabyte gaming OC, I think, or something like that. Like I said, great card. Never had a lick of problems with it. Never had heat issues. I did end up actually tearing that one apart. I think after I owned it for 2 years, I took the heatsink off of that thing and I put some new thermal paste on it. It was pretty dried up, the thermal paste, the stock thermal paste, and you know, the stock thermal paste is usually not the highest quality stuff in the world, but it served me well, and I re-thermal pasted it and got another 2 or 3 years out of it. I think it was 5 years, roughly 5 years old, if I remember correctly, when I finally decided to bite the bullet on the 3080. And to be fair, you know, I probably could have waited a little longer. Some may argue that I should have waited longer. And, you know, with the 4000 series around the corner, hopefully, you know, maybe prices would come down even more on the 3000s. Maybe just skip the 3000 and gone straight to the 4000s, but I've been looking at prices on the 4000s, and I would want to get a 4080, if not a 4080 Ti, and it sounds like those are going to be starting at $1,000 if you're lucky, and it just didn't seem like it was in the cards for me. So I grabbed a good deal on this MSI. It's the first MSI graphics card I've ever owned. I know I'm usually a Gigabyte fan, not a fan of Gigabyte software. In fact, if any of you are ever going to pick up a Gigabyte motherboard, which by the way I think they are very good quality, so is MSI, you know, and so is Asus. I mean, they're all today. I'd say these days, quality is much more standardized, excuse me, than I think it used to be. But in particular with Gigabyte, yeah, just skip their software. It's horrific. It really is. It's horrific. There is nothing that, in my opinion at least, from their software bundles that A, you need, and B, you can't find something else that does a better job. Like the MSI Afterburner does a better job for overclocking GPUs than anything Gigabyte has. Um, the Gigabyte's auto tune, don't even bother with that. You'd be better off um, using either Ryzen Master if you're AMD. I forget what the Intel solution is for overclocking CPUs, but there's better stuff out there for everything. The only thing Gigabyte related that I have now installed on my system is the RGB Fusion, and that's really just because of my lighting in my case requires RGB Fusion, and there's even other software out there that can handle RGB lighting. That's generic open source stuff that you might be better off with even on top of that. So something to consider. All right, well, let's wrap this episode up. If you're still with me, thanks for sticking along and listening to me ramble on about techie stuff. But I think we've done what we need to do with our straw. I think it was worth a little added extra effort to collect it. So let's dump our straw and we can collect our contract and call this episode, this Sunday morning Butschern episode, all she wrote. This one's going to be a little light on the income, but we'll take whatever we can get here. Let's see. $1,000 you think? Let's check it. 1,200? Ah, it was over. $861. All right. Where'd we start? We started around 54, if I remember correctly, before we started selling straw and the rest of that sunflower we got. So we're up about 12 grand. And then what we're going to be able to collect from our contract. Let's pull over here. Kill that. And we can walk over here and we can watch our equipment disappear as we collect our contract. Where's my contract? There it is. So we can collect, our total is about 5,500. Equipment's all gone. That's all she wrote for that. Puts us at 71, so we ended up, what, about 15, 16, maybe 16, 17,000? 54, 64. Yeah, about roughly $17,000 out of that whole thing. Not bad for normal economy, and this little map definitely will help us get through the winters a little bit better. Thank you all again, though, for joining me here on Butschern again this Sunday morning. Have a wonderful Sunday doing whatever it is you're doing today, whether it be watching football, going to church, relaxing, whatever it is you got planned. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you again Monday morning back here on Butschern. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you soon.